Hello friends, this is Amit. I welcome you in the video lecture series of the subject Operation Research. This is our fifth lecture related to the chapter Transportation Problem. In this particular lecture we will study about test for optimality. So in this particular lecture we will study the method that is used to obtain the optimal solution. So that method that we will study, that is modified distribution method, is also known as MODI method. So this method is used to obtain the optimal solution to the given transportation problem. There are basically two methods. First is MODI method and second is stepping stone method, which is not included in your syllabus. So we will not study that method. So let us see what are the steps that are followed to obtain the optimal solution using MODI method. So the first step is to determine an initial basic feasible solution consisting of m plus n minus 1 allocations using any of the three methods. In our previous lectures we had studied three methods, that was northwest corner method, least cost method and Vogel's approximation method. All the three methods are used to obtain the basic feasible solution to the given transportation problem. And we were checking with the help of the formula, that is m plus n minus 1. If the allocation is equal to m plus n minus 1, then the solution is said to have a basic feasible solution. The problem is said to have an initial basic feasible solution. So this is the first step. So that the first step using MODI method will be to obtain the basic feasible solution using any of the three methods. But as we had discussed even in our previous lecture, the Vogel's approximation method, VAM, that method is more preferable because it will take you to the optimal solution. It will take you more nearer to obtain the optimal solution. So VAM method is preferred over here, and with the help of VAM method you will get minimum transportation cost as compared to northwest corner method and least cost method. The total transportation cost that you will obtain with the help of VAM method, that will be minimum, and our ultimate goal will be our objective function is to reduce the total transportation cost. So VAM method is more preferred as compared to other two. Then determine a set of numbers for each row and column. So for each row and column, for row we will use UI. It will be in general UI. I stands for 1, 2, 3 up to m, and V stands for column. So we will have to determine a set of numbers for each row and column. Depending on number of rows and number of columns, we will find UI and Vj. Set UI plus Vj is equal to Cij. Cij stands for unit cost of transportation for each of the m plus n minus 1 occupied cell used in the initial solution. Now what is occupied solution? What is occupied cell? Occupied cell is nothing but in the table where you are allocating the values in the cell. Those cells with allocation is known as occupied cell. Where you have done the allocation in the table, the cell having the allocation is defined as an occupied cell. Clear? So we will find all those variables or numbers of UI and Vj depending on number of rows and columns, and we will assign arbitrarily we will take any value of UI or Vj, we will assign it to equal to 0, and we will find all the other variables. That again depends on number of rows and number of columns. UI stands for rows and Vj stands for columns. Third step, compute the opportunity cost using the relationship. So we will have to find the opportunity cost using the relationship, that is delta ij is equal to Cij minus in bracket UI plus Vj for each of the unoccupied cell. So now what is unoccupied cell? As we had discussed, occupied cells are those cells in which you have done the assignment. You have rounded and you have allocated some value. That cells are called occupied cells. Now the cells in which there is no allocation, those cells are called unoccupied cells in that particular table. So now what is the procedure? Now we will have to find the opportunity cost of all those unoccupied cells. So we will find out the opportunity cost for all the unoccupied cells using this relationship, that is delta ij is equal to Cij minus in bracket ui plus vj. So we will have more clear understanding when we solve one example. These are just the steps, just the procedure that is followed. But what is the first step to obtain the optimal solution? First you will have to find the basic feasible solution using any of the three methods, but we will prefer WARM method. Then check the sign of each opportunity cost, and if the opportunity cost of all the unoccupied cells are either positive or 0, the given solution is optimal one. So when you will come to know that optimum solution is reached, so this step shows that, okay, when see, in the third step we had seen we are supposed to calculate the opportunity cost of all the unoccupied cells. So using that relationship we will find out. Now what we need to find, okay, those unoccupied cells, if there are, for example, there are 5 unoccupied cells in the total transportation table which you had obtained, or which will be given to you, or which you had obtained in the using WARM method. Or so if there are 5, for example, if there are 5 unoccupied cells, now if you had find out all the 5 values, all the 5 opportunity cost of the unoccupied cells. Now if all the unoccupied cells that are 5 in our case, for example, and if all the values are positive or 0, then you have reached the optimal solution. Then you can know that you have reached the optimal solution if all the opportunity cost of the unoccupied cells are either 0 or positive value. So if the values that you have obtained, that is 0 or positive, then you have reached till the optimal solution for the given problem. So that is this fourth step. Now if one or more unoccupied cells have negative opportunity cost, then the given solution is not optimal one, and further saving in the transportation cost are possible. So this is very important step. Now if the opportunity cost that you have calculated for the unoccupied cell, and if there are the values with negative value, then we have not reached the optimal solution till we have not reached the optimal solution, because we are having negative value for the opportunity cost. Then what can be done? So that indicates that there are further chances of reduction in the transportation cost. So that is a blessing for us, because in our case, what is our ultimate aim, what is our objective? Our main objective is to reduce the total transportation cost. So if any unoccupied cells value is negative, then we have not reached the optimal solution yet, and further procedure is to be done to reach the optimal solution. Let us move to the sixth step. Select the unoccupied cell with the largest negative opportunity cost as the cell to be included in the next solution. These steps you will have a better understanding when we will solve the example. Then draw a closed loop path or loop for the unoccupied cell selected in the step 6. So whichever unoccupied cell with the largest negative opportunity cost was selected, from there you will have to start drawing the closed loop. That is our seventh point. As it is mentioned, draw a closed loop or path for an unoccupied cell that is selected in the step 6. So whichever cell having the largest negative opportunity cost that was selected in step 6, from that we will start drawing the loop or closed path. Now that the right angle turn in this path is permitted only at occupied cells and at original unoccupied cells. So when drawing the loop or closed path, there are certain rules that you will have to follow. Starting point will be the unoccupied cell that is having the largest negative value or negative opportunity cost. Then for drawing that, for drawing the loops, there will be horizontal and vertical lines, and right angle turn in this path is permitted only at the occupied cells. So wherever you find an occupied cell, from there only you can take the right angle turn. That is the condition, and that also at the occupied cells only. Next, point 8.1, that is every closed loop must have even number of turns and it is formed with horizontal and vertical lines only. So next slide. Next point, assign alternative plus and minus sign at the unoccupied cells on the corner points of the closed path with plus sign at cell being evaluated. So the point from where you are starting to draw the loop, that is the unoccupied cell that is having the largest negative opportunity cost. So from that point you will have to assign the sign. From that starting point you will have to allocate plus sign, then alternately you will have to change the sign. So if you have started with the point, so from there positive sign will be allocated, then from other point it will be minus, plus, minus, alternatively you will have to change over the sign. This is our 9th point. Then 10th point, determine the maximum number of units that can be shipped to this unoccupied cell. So how many number of units that can be shipped to this unoccupied cell, that is to be found out once you draw the loop. Then the smallest value with the negative position on the closed path indicates the number of units that can be shipped to the entering cell. Don't worry, this is just, you will understand better in an example. Then next point, point number 11, now add this quantity to the cells on the path marked with plus sign and subtract it from those cells marked with minus sign. In this way an unoccupied cell becomes an occupied cell. Repeat the whole procedure until an optimal solution is obtained. So we are able to show that for a given solution the opportunity cost for all the unoccupied cells are either positive or 0, and finally obtain the transportation cost for the new solution. So the procedure is done till what? So if you find the opportunity cost of the unoccupied cell as positive or 0, if there are for example 5 unoccupied cells and all the 5 values are positive or 0, then you have reached the optimal solution. But if there is any negative value, then there are further chances of reduction in the transportation cost. So you have not reached, if there is any negative value in the opportunity cost of unoccupied cell, you have not reached the optimal solution because the value is negative. You will have to stop the procedure only and only if there is positive value or 0 value of all the unoccupied cell. Then you have reached the optimal solution, and then you will have to stop the iteration process. So this is all about the steps that will be used to solve the MODI method, that is modified distribution method, and which is used to obtain optimal solution. So now let us take one example for your better understanding. Friends, this is the data that is given to you. Actually this table is given to you, then using WARM method I have already, for saving time, I have already allocated the value directly, so our time is not wasted. So accordingly this much will be given, or this much you will obtain. To you only this values will be given. This, when you follow the WARM method for obtaining the basic feasible solution, you will get the allocation like this. So this is the final solution you will get, and you will get the basic feasible solution using WARM. That step directly I have written over here. Requirement, availability. Now new things that is included in this MODI method is we will have to calculate the row values and column numbers denoted by UI and VJ. So you can see over here, for the column we will write V1, V2, V3 and V4, and for row there are 3 rows, U1, U2 and U3. We will have to find all these values of U1, U2 and U3, V1, V2, V3 and V4. So what is the first step? So check from the solution obtained that the initial solution is having degeneracy or non-degeneracy. Yes. Now this is one more thing that you need to check before going for the optimal solution. Now what is degeneracy and what is non-degeneracy? So that can be checked by the formula m plus n minus 1. So there are 3 rows and 4 columns. So if it is less than 6, 3 plus 4 minus 1, 6. So if the occupied cell obtained using this formula, if the occupied cell is less than this m plus n minus 1, that is 6. If it was 5, then the solution is said to have degeneracy, because as per the formula 3 plus 4 minus 1, that is 6. So using this formula your solution must have 6 occupied cell, which you can find over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. But if it was 5, if the allocation that you had obtained using the solution, during the solution you had obtained only 5 allocations, then your problem is said to have a degeneracy. your problem is said to have a degeneracy. But in this case, as the occupied cell is 6 as per the formula m plus n minus 1, so this problem is of non-degeneracy case, and thus optimal solution can be obtained for this problem. Now let us define the variables ui, that is value for the ith row factory, and vj, that is value for the jth column warehouse. For occupied cell, the relationship is Cij is equal to ui plus vj. So we will see further in the steps how to solve. Now the unit transportation cost for all the 6 occupied cells can be described as, we had seen in our previous slide, the general formula is Cij is equal to ui plus vj. Now there are 6 occupied cells, as you can see from the main table. So C14, this is the cell where you have done the allocation. So Cij, I stands for row and j stands for column. So C14 is equal to ui plus vj. This is for row, so that is u1. For column it is 4, so that is v4, and that is equal to 13. You can see over here, this occupied cell is having unit transportation cost Cij, that is equal to 13. Similarly for this C21, the unit transportation cost is 17 and it is equal to u2 plus v1. Similarly C22 is equal to u2 plus v2. C22 you can find from the second row and second column cell, that is this one, and that is 18. So u2 plus v2 is equal to 18. Similarly C24 is equal to u2 plus u4 is equal to 23. Then C32 is equal to u3 plus v2 is equal to 27, and C33 is equal to u3 plus v3 is equal to 18. Now from the above 6 equation, select any one variable value equal to 0. So from this all the 6 equations you are assigning. For example, let u1 is equal to 0. In this particular example I have taken u1 is equal to 0. You are free to assign any variable with 0 value, but I have selected u1 is equal to 0. So putting that value in the equation, and you will find the identify the value of other variables also. So if I have put u1 is equal to 0, then you can find the value of v4. As u1 is equal to 0, I have assumed u1 is equal to 0, so u1 plus v4 is equal to 13. So u1 is equal to 0, so v4 is equal to 13. Similarly u2 plus v4, we had already obtained the value of v4 over here, that is 13. So put that value in this equation. u2 plus v4 is equal to 23. So u2 plus v4 is 13. So u2 23 minus 13, that will give you the value of u2, that is 10. Similarly all the other values are obtained in the same way. Now if you go for this, u2 plus v2 is equal to 18, then you have already obtained in this second equation u2 is equal to 10. So put 10 over here, so v2 is equal to 8. All the other values are obtained in the same way, which I have explained over here. Now the third step. Now we proceed to evaluate the cost change. Cost change or opportunity cost, both are same words, both are used in complement to each other. So we will proceed to evaluate the cost change or opportunity cost for all the unoccupied cells using the formula delta ij is equal to Cij minus ui minus vj. So this formula will be used to find out the opportunity cost for all the unoccupied cells, that we will see in our next slide. So opportunity cost for each of the unoccupied cells are shown in the table. So this is the list of the cells which are unoccupied, and we will find the opportunity cost for each of the unoccupied cell. So this all are the unoccupied cells column in which we have not done any allocation. This is the opportunity cost and this is the net change. So in the first cell F1W1 is unoccupied, means we have not done any allocation. So F1W1, so delta ij, this is the general form. So we can write delta 11 is equal to Cij, the value that you can find of C11 from the main table, that is 21 minus 0 plus 7. This u1, u2, u3, this all the values we had obtained in our previous slide over here. So this all the values will be used to find out the opportunity cost. So doing substituting all those values will give you 21 minus 7, that is 14, so that is over here. Similarly, for unoccupied cell F1W2, the formula you will write delta 12. So C12, the value that can be obtained from the main table. Other values such as U1 and V2 from the previous slide you can see, that is U1, U2, U3 and V1, V2, V3 and V4. All the values has been obtained, is equal to 8. So this is the opportunity cost value of the unoccupied cell. Similarly, all other values can be obtained using this formula. So this is the opportunity cost for all the unoccupied cell. Now these values we will put in our main table by doing the box. So as you can see, these are these values shown in the box, that is the opportunity cost of all the unoccupied cell. So for this first unoccupied cell, that is 14, for second it is 8, for third it is 26, then for this particular cell it is 5, for this particular cell it is 6, and for this it is 9. So all the values of the opportunity cost is shown in the table inside the box. So now you can see, now again finding out these all are the values that we had find out, which I am writing over here. U1 is 0, U2 is 10, U3 is 19, V1 is 7, V2 is 8, V3 is minus 1 and V4 is 13. So the net cost change or opportunity cost for all the unoccupied cells, there is no negative value, as we have seen in the steps. Okay, if the value of the unoccupied cells are all positive or 0, so you can see there are no negative values. 14, 8, 26, 5, 6 and 9, so all are positive. So we have reached the optimal solution for the given problem. So the opportunity cost for all the unoccupied cells shows there is no negative value. Since the opportunity cost of all the are 0 or positive, the current solution is optimal one. So the total transportation cost can be find out using the main table. You can see wherever there are allocation, that the same procedure we are following. 13 into 11, 17 into 6. The values shown inside the bracket shows Xij, that is number of units that can be transported from ith source to the jth destination, and this without bracket is the unit cost of transportation. So if you do the calculations, you will find that the total transportation cost is 796. So this is all about how to obtain the optimal solution using Modi method. In our next lecture we will see one more example. Till then, make more practice and be safe. Thank you. So students, let us move to the second example related to the Modi method. The example that we will study, that is already given in the table. So apply Modi method to obtain the solution of the transportation problem using the data that is given in the table. So this is the data that is given to you in the table. There are 3 rows and 4 columns. So there are 3 sources and 4 destination points or warehouses. Each source supply capacity is given at the end of the row. Of source 1, the supply capacity is 7. For source 2, the supply capacity is 9. For source 3, the supply capacity is 18. So the capacity of all the sources are given. At the same time, the demand of all the warehouses or destination points is given at the end of each column. For D1 it is 5, for D2 it is 8, for D3 it is 7, for D4 it is 14, and rim condition, that is 35. means supply is equal to demand. That is called Prim condition, or you can say a problem is a balance problem. The problem is said to be balanced when the supply and demand both are equal. At that time you can say that the given transportation problem is a balanced one. Now, using WARM method, as we had discussed in our fourth lecture, there are ultimately there are three methods which are used to obtain the basic feasible solution, but in our fourth lecture we had studied our last method, that was WARM, Vogel's approximation method, and that method is mostly preferred because it will take you more nearer to obtain the optimal solution to the given transportation problem. Because if you see the three methods, that was northwest corner method, then least cost method and WARM method. So in all the three methods we had obtained the total transportation cost, and the total transportation cost that was obtained with the help of WARM method, that was minimum. So what is main objective in this particular transportation problem? Our main objective is to reduce the total transportation cost from the supply point to the demand point. So as WARM methods give you the minimum transportation cost as compared to other two methods, that's why this is preferred over another two methods, and it will take you more closer to obtain the optimal solution. So this Modi method is ultimately used to obtain the optimal solution to the given transportation problem. So this table is obtained using the WARM method. We will not go through that procedure that we had already studied in our fourth lecture, WARM method, how to obtain the basic feasible solution. So I would directly put on the allocations that was obtained using the WARM method. So you can see allocation is over here, here, and here. So there are total 6 allocations, 3 plus 2, 5 and 6, yes. So the given transportation problem is said to have a basic feasible solution as per the formula m plus n minus 1. So the total transportation cost that is obtained using WARM method, that is 779. So now one more thing, we need to check whether the problem is having degeneracy or not. So that can also be checked. These cells in which we had done the allocation, that cells are called occupied cells, and in which there is no allocation, the cells in which there is no allocation, that cells we will call as an unoccupied cell. So understand the difference between that two. Occupied cells are those cells in which we had done the allocation, and the cells in which there is no allocation, that is called unoccupied cells. So to check the condition whether there is a degeneracy in the problem or the problem is having non-degeneracy, for that the formula is this, m plus n minus 1. So m is number of rows and n is number of columns. So 3 plus 4 minus 1 that gives 6 allocations. So if the allocation is less than this m plus n minus 1, then the problem is said to have degeneracy. Then we will have to remove that, but that we will see in our upcoming lectures, how to solve the degeneracy in the transportation problem. But in our case here, the occupied cell is equal to 6 as per this formula. So this problem is of non-degeneracy case. Now second step, obtaining the optimal solution using Modi method, we have seen in our first example related to this. So calculating Ui and Vj of rows and columns. So calculate Ui and Vj for each occupied cells. So there are 7 unknowns. Assuming any one value is equal to 0, so we will have to calculate for row U1, U2, U3, and for column V1, V2, V3, V4. So we will assume any one variable equal to 0. So in this case we are assuming U1 is equal to 0. You can assume any values equal to 0. There is no any rule for that, but you will have to assume any one value is equal to 0. Then and then you will get the values of other variables. In this case it will be U1, U2, U3, V1, V2, V3 and V4. Moving to the next step. So for occupied cell we are having the relationship, that is Cij is equal to Ui plus Vj. So why we are doing this procedure of finding U1 and V1 and that all things? So we are trying to check whether there is any possibility for more reduction in cost or not. So we are checking. For that purpose we are doing this whole procedure. So for occupied cell the formula is Cij plus Ui plus Vj. So the occupied cells where we had done the allocation, those cells will be written like this: C11 plus U1 plus V1. You can find in your first slide or this particular example, you have allocation in this first cell, then in fourth and first. So those all values will be written in this. C11 is equal to U1 plus V1 is equal to 19. C14 is equal to U1 plus V4 is equal to 10. C23 is equal to U2 plus V3 is equal to 40. C24 is equal to U2 plus V4. C24's value you can see from the main table, that is equal to 60. Similarly, C32 is equal to U3 plus V2 is equal to 8, and C34 is equal to U3 plus V4 is equal to 20. So this Cij is unit cost of transportation from source to the destination. So we had written all this. These all are unknown variables for us. We are calculating it for occupied cells. So now assuming any one variable is equal to 0, in this case I have assumed U1 is equal to 0 and putting that value in this first equation, so you can get the value of V1. So U1 plus V1 is equal to 19. I have assumed U1 is equal to 0, so V1 is 19 now. So obtaining the other values now of other variables, U1 plus V4 is equal to 10. We have already assumed U1 is equal to 0, so U1 is 0 plus V4 is equal to 10, so V4 is equal to 10. U2 plus V4 is equal to 60. So U2 plus V4 we have already obtained over here, so substitute that. So U2 is equal to 50 now. U3 plus U3 plus V4, that is equal to 20. So V4 value is 10, so putting that value, so you will get U3 that is equal to 10. Similarly, all the other values are obtained. V2 we will get is equal to minus 2, V3 we will get minus 10. So this is all the values of Uij and Vj that we have obtained. As there are 3 rows, so we will have to find U1, U2 and U3, and there are 4 columns, so we will have to find V1, V2, V3 and V4. Now moving to the third step, that is evaluating opportunity cost or net change of cost for all the unoccupied cells using the formula. Now we are calculating the opportunity cost for all the unoccupied cells that we can find from the main table. So for that, the relationship is delta Ij is equal to Cij minus in bracket Ui plus Vj. So give this name as an equation X. Moving to our next slide. So these are the unoccupied cell. You can find the unoccupied cells from the main table that was given. So delta 1, 2, that is unoccupied cell, is equal to Cij, so that is delta 1, 2 is equal to C12 minus U1 plus V. So this C12 value that is obtained from the unoccupied cell, that is 30, minus U1 value that you had already assumed is equal to 0, and all the other variables you had find out in the our previous slide, that is over here. You had find out the values of U1, U2, U3, U4, U1, U2, U3 and V1, V2, V3 and V4. So all the values you will have to substitute over here now. So if you substitute the values of V2, that is minus 2, so 30 minus plus, so that gives you plus 32. Similarly, for unoccupied cell delta 1, 3, you will find when you substitute those values of U1 and V3, you will get 60. For delta 2, 1, that is unoccupied cell, if you substitute the value of U2, that is 50 that we had obtained, V1 we had obtained, that is 19, so when you put, you will get 1. Similarly for this cell, now you can see, okay, 30 minus, this is 50 minus 2, that is 48, so 30 minus 48 will give you minus 18. Similarly for delta 1, 3, when you substitute all those values, you will get 11. Then delta 3, 3, that is unoccupied cell, you will get 70. Now the one thing you need to know, okay, when you will get the optimal solution using Modi method. So what is the condition when you will know, okay, you have reached the optimal solution for the given problem? So for that there are certain rules which you must keep in mind. Okay, whenever you find the values of the unoccupied cells, if there is any negative value within that, then you can say that the problem is not having, or we have not reached the optimal solution yet. So as you can see, this unoccupied cell delta 22 is having minus value, so you can say that this problem is not having or not reached the optimal solution yet. So what is now the further procedure? What are the further procedures that we need to do such that we can reach the optimal solution? We had seen in our first example, okay, all the unoccupied cells were having positive value, either positive value or 0. So if the unoccupied cells are having positive or 0 values, then the solution is said to have an optimal solution. But if any of the unoccupied cell is having a negative value, then we have to do the further procedures to obtain the optimal solution. So here we are having minus value, so as we can see, the unoccupied cell as to D2 is having negative value, that is delta 22, that is equal to minus 18. So the optimal solution is not obtained. So let us see our next slide, all the values. So this is the main table. Now we had calculated all the values of unoccupied cell that we will show by the box inside the table. So you can see over here, this is unoccupied cell. The value we had calculated, that will be shown in this rectangular box, that is 32. For this unoccupied cell, that is 60. For this it is 1. For this it is minus 18. For this it is 11, and for this it is 70. So now what to do to reach the optimal solution? This is very important point, so please concentrate. Now the cell with the negative value, unoccupied cell with the negative value, from there we will have to start drawing the closed loop. So in this case it is this one, so I have put dot over here. So this is our starting point now. So the point from where you are starting, put the positive value sign at that, then change the sign alternatively. So if you are, this is your starting point, which will be your starting point? The point in which you are having the negative value in the unoccupied cell. So in this cell we are having the negative value for this unoccupied cell, so this will be our starting point. So putting this point over here, this will be our starting point, and allocating the sign that is positive over there, then you will have to put alternative signs plus minus accordingly. Now what is this? So a closed loop indicates, so now this will indicate that there is still possibility of reducing the cost. So a closed loop indicates changes involved in reallocating the shipment. So due to this, now there will be reallocating of the units that can be done. So closed loop starts and ends at the selected unoccupied cell. So this will be the starting point for the closed loop, and end point also will be the same from where you started, that is for the unoccupied cell. Now put alter sign plus and minus in the loop. So how to draw the loop now? So for drawing the loop, you can take the loop can be drawn by using horizontal and vertical lines. The loop can be drawn by using the horizontal and vertical lines. So what is now the procedure to draw the loop? So to draw the loop, so you can draw like this. Draw the vertical line, and its end point must have occupied cell. So you can see here this cell is an unoccupied cell. So now if you draw the vertical lines, then you will have to stop over here, because its end point must have always occupied cell. So here it is having an occupied cell, so this vertical line will be in downward direction. Now what are the other rules? You can only take right hand turn you can only take right hand turn when there is an occupied cell over there. So you can see over here, now the right hand turn right angle turn is taken over here where there is an occupied cell, so there is a right angle turn. Now again, if this is the starting point, then end point must have an occupied cell, so drawing the line till this occupied cell. Now again you can take right hand turn only when you have reached the occupied cell, so you are taking right hand turn over here and you are drawing the line till occupied cell. Okay, so you have drawn this vertical line to the occupied cell. Now again you can take right hand turn, because you will not stop over here. Why? Because the loop starting and end point remains the same. That will be the point from where we started drawing the loop. So this unoccupied cell, you will have to draw this horizontal line till this starting point. So this right angle turn is taken from this occupied cell and this horizontal line is extended till the starting point. So this will be the loop, closed loop. How you will draw? Starting point, its end point will be always occupied cell. So you are drawing this vertical line where? Till the occupied cell. Then again you can take a right hand turn or right angle turn, 90-degree turn, by drawing this horizontal line. Where till how much long you should draw this horizontal line? This horizontal line is drawn till you reach the occupied cell. So here you have reached the occupied cell. So again you can take a right hand turn and you can draw the line till you meet the allocated cell. So this is over here. Again you are taking the right hand turn and extending the line to the unoccupied cell or the starting point. Now this starting point will have positive sign, so at other points you will have to alter the sign. So if the value is positive, then here it is minus, then again plus, minus, this will be bypassed. So this is how you will draw the loop. Put alter signs of plus and minus in the loop. Now examine the occupied cell with negative in the corners of the closed loop. So occupied cells are this with negative signs. There are two occupied cells with negative sign, this one and this one. So examine the occupied cells with negative sign in the corners of the closed loop. These are the corners of the closed loop, and select the one with smallest allocation. So in this closed loop, this cell is having 8 and this cell is having 2. So the smallest allocation is 2. So this determines the maximum number of units that can be shifted along the closed path. We will see what is done. Now minus sign is in the cell S2 D4, that is this, and S3 D2. So add 2 to the cell. So now in the loop you can see this cell is having plus sign and this cell is having plus sign. So there this 2 value will be added and this 2 value will be subtracted from this minus sign. So add 2 to the cell S2 D2. Here you can see there is no allocation, but now after drawing the closed loop you can see there is a reallocation of the units now that will be done to the table. So adding 2, wherever you see the positive values in the loop, this smallest allocation will be added over there, and wherever the sign is minus there, this smallest allocation will be subtracted. So let us see that in our next table. And same value is subtracted from the cell S2 D4 and S3 D2 because they carry minus sign. So again I have drawn the table. These are the values of UI for U1, U2 and U3 that we had already obtained in our previous slides. U1 we had assumed 0, U2 that is 32, U3 this, V1, V2, V3 and V4. Now this is the table. Now you can see from the previous table, here there was no allocation, this was our unoccupied cell, but after drawing the closed loop, now we had come to a situation where we can add these 2 number of units in this unoccupied cell. So you can see over here this 2 is added in this, that is over here. Then what are the other changes? Here as the sign is minus, so we will subtract 2 units from this allocated 8, so that is over here. Similarly Here there was allocation of 10, so now we are adding the 2 units over there, so it becomes 12. Sorry, so you can see this is 12 now, and at that particular allocation the 2 is subtracted from that itself, so there will be now 0, so it becomes an unoccupied cell. So you can see over here this is now 0. So these are the values of unoccupied cell which we had obtained. So now the modified table is over here, in which you can see we have done the reallocation of the units in the table. So let us check now what are the transportation costs now that we are having for this particular data. So from the above table there is no negative. Now this all the values, we had obtained. Again this for the unoccupied cell, this one, this, the same procedure we had followed. I have not shown over here, but you can, for your convenience, you should calculate in your notebook. So this unoccupied cells, again we have calculated, and we had find out that now there are no negative values no negative values are there for the unoccupied cell. So we have reached for the given problem to get the optimal solution. So now for this problem we are having the optimal solution. So from the above table there is no negative value of unoccupied cell, as all the 0 or positive values, because there are positive values for all the unoccupied cell. You can see 19, 32, 42, 14, 52, 11, all are positive. So the optimal solution is reached for the given transportation problem, and now we are finding out the total transportation cost from the above table. So when you are revising the total transportation cost for reallocating the allocations that are given to you, so you can see 19 into 5 plus 10 into 2, 19 into 5 plus 10 into 2, that is this, plus 30 into 2 plus 40 into 7 plus 8 into 6 plus 20 into 12. So the values that is shown in bracket, that is Xij, that means number of units that can be transported between S1 and D1. This without bracket is unit cost of transportation from ith source to jth source. So you can see the total transportation cost that we had obtained by reallocating, that is now 743. So this is your final answer. If you see the first answer of the total transportation cost, that was 779. So 779 was your cost that you had obtained using, that was obtained using WARM method. Now by doing the reallocation process, you had find out now the total transportation cost is now reduced by reallocation. You can see now it is 743. So this much of saving has been done, and our main ultimate aim was to obtain the minimum transportation cost. So you can see now this problem is also having the optimal solution, and saving of rupees 36 is there. So this is all about how to draw the loop when the unoccupied cell is having negative value. That can be drawn very easily. You will have to use horizontal and vertical lines. The thing that you need to keep in mind, the starting point and end point of the loop will remain same. Put the positive value over there and draw the horizontal or vertical lines where you meet the occupied cell. So if you have meet vertically the occupied cell, then right angle turn is only taken from the occupied cell. Similarly, draw the line till another occupied cell is obtained. So extend your line till that much. And similarly again right angle turn is taken from the occupied cell only. So put the alternative signs over there. So your starting point will have positive sign, the next point will have negative sign. Accordingly alternate signs will be allocated. So this is all about how to obtain the optimal solution using Modi method. When you will obtain the optimal solution, that is all the unoccupied cells opportunity cost should have a positive value or zero value. If there is any negative value that is obtained for the unoccupied cell, then you will have to draw the loop, and then you will have to do the reallocation, and then you will have to again find the total transportation cost. Thank you.